51, get out!
Hello tankers and tankettes, welcome to a pair of replays of mine, and we've had a bit of a break. It's not been intentional, but I had some PC issues which hopefully are now solved. I thought I might have to reinstall Windows, which is always a tremendous pain in the bum because it means basically it's not so much the installing Windows bit, but I always have to spend a couple of days making sure my backups are all up to date because it's a lot of data to back up. And then afterwards it's the having to download everything and all the updates, all the programs that need to be installed, and it takes potentially weeks, because bear in mind, once everything's fixed and I'm making videos again, a lot of my time overnight when I might be downloading stuff has to be taken up with uploads instead, so I have to download in the gaps, as it were, so it can really stretch things out. Anyway, it looks like things are alright, and I'm having a go at recording this because it's a pair of replays that have got one thing in common, and I'm not going to say what that is just now. You'll have to wait till the end of this first match, and then you'll obviously have an idea of what the second match is going to be like. But they're both going to be German heavies, the Mouse and the E75, and I'm started off with the Mouse game because I don't know, I just decided to do it that way. Now that was quite lucky. I don't think it was really that guy's fault. He was obviously scoped in, wanted a shot at the Panther, and a Mouse just pulled into view. But hey, this turret is just so troll that I even bounced that. So we're going to fast forward a bit here because this is me just getting to the hill, and I decided to go on this side rather than the other for a couple of reasons. There's a 183 on the enemy team along with an E4, and obviously the T30 and the T95 have got fairly big guns as well. That, coupled with artillery and the open nature of the other flank, means that I felt it was less risky for me to come over here, that I could actually do more to help the team. Because one of the things the Mouse is good at, and I've talked about this before, is basically making a space for your teammates to do what they need to do. You soak up the shots, you hopefully bounce shells, and while their enemies are shooting at you, your teammates can swoop in and pump them full of lead. At least that's the theory. So what I'm hoping to do here is basically help clear out the hill, and I'm just going to roll up here with my troll armor, bounce shots, and as I'm bouncing shots, as people are firing at me, the hope is that they will of course become unmasked themselves, and just like that Type 61 just has, so that we can take them out, clear out the hill, and then we've got this, reasonably strategic bit of ground that is sort of fairly important to have. I'm not pushing all the way though, because there might be a bunch of stuff sitting at that rail, the rail crossing, potentially at yes, there is, shooting up here, and as we can see, there's the Death Star. I was going to shoot the E75 and instead I try for the Death Star, but unfortunately it bounces on his turret, and then I take a 500 HE damage, a 500 damage HE shell from the arty, and I think it was only 500 because maybe he doesn't have the top gun. It's a tier 9 Russian arty, bear in mind. I've also got a small liner on this, so that helps me as well, but yeah, so I have managed to do a bit of damage to that 5120 as well, at least. It was just the top of his turret poking out, but hey, it's a French turret, so that makes all the difference. So rather than push along the zero line, and yeah, you can see there, they're getting picked off, because the top of the hill there, I mean, there's not that much bush cover when you're in a heavy tank, and it is quite possible to sit down on the other side of the tracks and just pull back far enough to spot, and then somebody else shoots what you're spotting. There's enemy artillery though, that's quite useful that we know where he is. Hopefully he'll get taken out soon, I don't know. Somebody shoots him, but unfortunately doesn't manage to kill him. The 183 might poke, and I'm just pausing a moment, but no, he's quite firmly entrenched behind the tracks there. So what I'm thinking of doing at this point is either going down to that crossing and basically occupying their attention, or helping in the middle. And we see there's an E4, a 110 E4 in the middle, and a VK45OB from our team. So helping the 4502B actually might be the better plan here, because if we can clear out that tank destroyer from the middle, that gives us more options for using this side of the tracks, for using the whole middle area, basically. So there's the 110 E4. I'm just kind of trundling forwards and hoping not to take any more arty shells. Normally in a mouse, you know, tier 9 arty, bad news, but either I've got lucky or he doesn't have the top gun, and our VK is dead, which is unfortunate, or that it's my spore liner that's blocking enough damage that either way, you know, I'm confident I'm not just going to get one shot by artillery, so I'm not using the buildings for cover here as much as I might if there was, say, a T-92 or, you know, some tier 10 artillery in play. And I'm actually going to say excuse me, I'm actually going to say artillery has a very big impact, and mostly a positive impact on this match. I mean, okay, I've been targeted by enemy artillery and I'm in a mouse. You got to expect that in a mouse. But because there's only one arty per team, it actually doesn't feel that bad, and because he's not doing that much damage at a time, this is one of those occasions when, even though I'm in a mouse game with artillery, you know, it's in my consciousness, I'm aware of the fact, but it wasn't something that made me play a lot more passively than normal. Because if there was the same situation, the same map, and there was 3 enemy artilleries, and this turret armor's so troll, even gold armor, yeah, gold ammo rather. Wow, gold armor. That's that's a secret us YouTubers, celebrities are only supposed to know about. You peons, you serfs aren't supposed to know about that yet. So just forget I said anything. Yeah, I forgot what I was saying there, but basically our artillery actually does a really good job, and I don't think we could have won this. So there we go, the E4 does actually pen me with a gold shell there, but when you're confronted with a mouse, you know, I suppose he was a bit worried about me. I don't know, maybe he was an XVM user and saw me roll over with my stats. Caption guy, you can't say anything. You know, my elite hacking skills are good, but not good enough to hack the XVM servers. That maybe he thought I was a high priority target and deserved the premium shell treatment. I don't know. But anyway, the E4 is dead by our artillery, so that's good. So I'm actually going to go down here and help out the E50, who's doing a pretty reasonable job all on his own. He's taken out that 5120. There's another low health 5120 there, and artillery. So maybe I won't be needed here anyway. But looking at what's going on the rest of the map, the other flank was basically overcome, and that Jagdtiger is not going to last too much longer. And because artillery was helping out here, they weren't really able to help on the other flank. With it, I think the T-95 just basically rolled down that flank, which is kind of, on this map, is pretty much, I guess, what you would try, unless you were going to be very, very passive. If you want to actually take an active role and kind of do what I'm doing, push a flank, absorb damage and create space for your allies to work and hopefully spot at the same time, then there's not that many options for a T-95 on this map. So he did what he did, and that's alright, and we're down to 3 tanks versus 3 tanks and an artillery, and the artillery is kind of our ace in the hole. So either they come back to defend, which they might well because we're basically at their cap already, or else they go for our cap, and it looks like at least one of them's come back because there's the IS-7. And I just fire on the move, and you'll notice how I'm moving. And this is a match where, I mean, you always have to be thinking about this in the mouse anyway, but it shows very well that you always have to be incredibly conscious of the angle of your armor relative to where you think the enemy is. So I was not going to stop for that IS-7, and I know the T-30 and the T-95 are both roughly in the same place, so I'm being quite cautious here. And I just have to make best use as I can of the monstrous turret armor, but also, I mean, it'd be great if I could get into a position where I can actually shoot, but the terrain here makes it quite difficult. And also, we're kind of slightly running out of time, and we're down to less than 5 minutes now. So the IS-7 looks like it might going to be poking around the end of this kind of ridge of land here. So I'm angling my armor, I'm angling my tank back towards this direction. I've also got some premium shells loaded. Because this is a crunch situation, right, we need to deal some damage here. And there he is. Unfortunately, the E50 takes a hit, and I'm actually going to try and I'm conscious that I could get shot in the side of the turret here, but I'm going to try and keep that E50 safe if I can, keep him in the game as long as I can. So I'm actually going to angle my tank down, so I'm hopefully covering the E50 with my tank. And there we go. It works at least for that first shot. And there's that troll turret armor. Even with a shot on the side of my turret, it just T95 bounces. So yeah, my tracksuit, the IS-7 shot, I've kept the E50 alive long enough to take maybe another shot, but the IS-7's being a bit more canny this time. He knows what I'm trying to do, so he comes forwards, and even though I've shot him, he accepts that he's going to take a hit in order to take out the E50, and then he backs off at an angle. So even though I do hit him, that was a really tough one for me to pen. Fortunately, the E75 actually gets one in him while he is backing off, and the T30 also fortunately has gone to the same spot. So that means both of them are effectively in my front at the moment. Now the E75 has taken a big hit, and I'm just constantly looking around me to try and gauge what's going on, to see what health our E75's at, if he's taking fire, are they firing at him? And that's a nice shot from our arty there. Like I said, I'm fairly certain we couldn't have done this without our artillery being at least at the kind of level of play that they were. So back to AP, because I really don't need APCR for the hull of a T30, and if I'm reduced to shooting at his turret, well, even APCR is it's a good chance of it bouncing on the T30 turret, unless he sits still long enough to let me actually shoot his weak spots. So I've been spotted by something, probably the T95. I'm going to back up, see if I can plant a shot in him, but the E75 actually beats me to it, which is quite useful. And there's the T30, which is about to take out the E75. That's kind of unfortunate. It's now 1 versus 1, but I've still got that artillery support. So even though I've not done that much damage, it's come down to a situation where all I have to essentially do is stay alive long enough for artillery to do his work. You know, worst case scenario. But I do have to be a bit cautious about taking damage myself. You know, my main role here is almost as more of as a spotter than trying to do damage. But if I can also do damage to the T30, that really helps, because we're down to 2 minutes. But if I die, then this is probably not going to be a win. It's probably going to be a draw, because the Batchat will not really be able to go after the T30 himself. So I get quite a lucky snapshot against his hull. And that wasn't even, you know, that was just in pure arcade mode. And I'm pretty sure that my reload's better than his. So even though I'm exposing my lower front plate to do this, and there we go, artillery tracks him, I actually poke over the ridge and shoot him anyway. And I'm able to use my gun depression quite well there, because I can immediately pull back. Now he's really low health. I can either finish him off, or artillery can finish him off, and I don't want to take any risks here, so mostly I want to keep him spotted for artillery. But if I can goad him into making a shot at, you know, my turret, whatever, and just hope that, I don't know if he's got the big gun or not, you know, potentially he could one-shot me, but it's totally moot. Artillery finishes him off, and there we go. I've only done 2,900 damage, but that was quite a nice win, and I'm actually at the top of the team list. And the surprise result that's put me at the top of the team list is the fact that I got a patrol duty medal with 5,291 spotting damage, and it was pure spotting damage, because Scout Mouse OP. I've had this result once before, and I put that replay up, and I think any time I get, you know, patrol duty or scout or whatever in a mouse, I probably will put it up on the channel, just because it is just so amusing, and I think it demonstrates more than anything else the vagaries of the spotting system. Even somebody who has read up on the mechanics, you can, and well, as somebody who's read up on the mechanics, I should qualify that sentence, there's no way of predicting a result like this. You don't know until you get to the score screen. Even when you're in a light tank, you know, you can be a bit more confident if you're around and near enemy tanks that are taking damage, that as a light tank you're going to get the priority for that spotted damage. But when there aren't light tanks around, you know, whether or not the game decides to give you the spotting damage as opposed to somebody else, or I don't know, it can just be totally unpredictable, and you end up with results like this. I mean, Steel Wall as well, okay, it's a mouse, that's not at all unpredictable in a mouse, but that 5.3k pure spotting damage was enough to get me 1100 raw XP and the equivalent of an ace tanker if I didn't already have it. So yeah, 33k profit as well, you know, that's not bad for a mouse. So that was fairly ridiculous, and because this was this is actually a very recent replay, it was during a ×5 weekend, I got nearly 9,000 XP out of that with the ×5 with premium and a mission reward apparently got me an extra 424, so there you go. Yeah, nearly 9,000 XP, so that's not too shabby. I'm not going to complain about that. So on to the next replay, and this one is going to be actually, if anything, more ridiculous. So here we are, second replay. Like I mentioned, it's the E75. I don't yet have an E100, but I'm slowly working my way towards it. Now look at the team list for this. Look at my position. Now yes, the enemy team does have 3 RT, a Batchat 155, 55, an SU-14-2, and a Burt. They have a Burt. Yeah. We've also got, well, we've got one better. We've got a Tier 5 RT. We've got an SU-14-1. So, yeah. Even though there's 3 RT on this team, though, I looked at that team list and I thought, I'm in an E75. I'm in just such a great position. This is going to be awesome. And, well, overconfidence will kill you every time, basically. But I'm not going to say that how this goes was all down to overconfidence. This whole match is so derpy. It just goes to show, I think it goes to show actually why we play World of Tanks, because we play it for its inherent unpredictability. Every match is going to be different because every match you're in with a totally different group of random people, and you never quite know how it's going to go. You absolutely have no clue. You build up after, I don't know how many thousand battles. You start to have some idea of the general patterns of on maps, where you should go in certain tanks, or where you shouldn't go, or where the more strategically important locations are, where the it builds up, and you can come to rely on that to a certain extent, but you always have to have in mind that just because of the inherent unpredictability of people and how this game throws totally random people together, that sometimes all of that accumulated knowledge is just going to go out of the window. It's not going to matter one bit because somebody does something so unexpected, or an enemy team does something so unexpected that you have no way of predicting it. So I've come to this flank because, like I said, I'm feeling confident. I'm in an E75 and I've got a lot of armor, I've got a big gun, and I think if we sweep this flank quickly, because the beach flank on this particular map, it's not usually that populated. You don't see that many people, and there's 3 heavies there. Okay, I'm going to see if I can get off a shot now. Can I get this T29? Fortunately, I do manage to actually hit his turret in a place I can pen, even though I was aiming through the balustrade, so I didn't actually have an outline. But that's 2 out of 3 tanks that were spotted down. Now, the IS-8's been taken out by artillery, but no, I'm feeling quite confident. I'm actually going to be a bit aggressive. I'm going to move up. That's more tanks. Okay, that's a lot more tanks. Yeah, okay, new plan, panic, everyone panic. Now I did a little head count, and yeah, that VKB was on fire. This is a 9.1 replay, by the way, so that's not the monster VKB, so I've actually, when I'm firing it as lower front plate here, this is the old VKB. Yeah, they're just rushing me because they know I'm alone. The T29 behind me is very badly damaged. I do have some artillery support, but they can only fire once every so often. But yeah, I did a head count, and there were fully 10 tanks on the beach. Actually, make that 11 because their Burt was on the beach side as well. 11 tanks on the beach. I just jumped in front of a lemming train, and let me tell you, that hurts. As I'm finding out very rapidly. So I've taken out the VKB. I'm just trying to do as much damage as I can before I die. He's a one-shot kill, so I'm going to take him out. This IS-8 behind me, I probably can't do anything about him, but I'm going to at least try and wedge myself here so I'm artillery safe, but no, Burt tracks me. I've used my repair kit, and the Batchat party finishes me off. So, apart from enemy artillery, there were fully 2 tanks on the entire rest of the match, and everybody else was on the beach, literally everybody else. That, I can count on one hand the number of times I've personally experienced that. It's not that I can say, oh yeah, no, I was a total noob there, I did the wrong thing. I was overconfident, sure, but nobody expects to jump onto an area of a map and encounter more than 2/3 of the enemy team. And I'm just going to speed it up here and pay attention to the minimap. even though it was 2/3 of the enemy team, they lost a lot of people, and it was a classic lemming trade. They lost a lot of people in the process, and we actually lost more than I thought we would, to be honest. But given how this wound out, and yeah, the replay's being a bit derpy here. That VKB wreck keeps disappearing, and I don't know why. The actual end result of this, I don't think was ever in doubt. We lost half our team, but even before I died, I was able to do 2100 damage, and the rest have just been bottled into this one area, and they're just getting mopped up. So there we are. Despite my many thousands of battles worth of experience, I had absolutely no inkling that that was going to happen, and you can't predict these things. And like I said, I think that's one of the reasons why people keep playing this game, is because it is so unpredictable. Every battle is, you know, it's a thing unto itself. You can never quite know how it's going to work out. And this was an extreme example, and the result was even more extreme. You know, I got, again, a patrol duty, 5.7k spotting nearly this time, and it was all, again, pure spotting. I also actually spotted half the enemy team nearly, 7 tanks that I lit up in my heavy tank. If I'd had, I can't remember if it was 1 or 2 more, I could have had a scout medal as well in an E75, purely from jumping into the middle of a lemming train. But yeah, no, it's just, you can't predict it, you can't, and you end up with results like this. And it's a bit of a novelty, it's a bit of a joker, but after the hard work of that mouse match, you know, that was there was a bit more thought went into that one. Whereas in this one, I died after 3.5 minutes. Yeah, 3 minutes 35 seconds, and I still had the best score of anyone. I actually had a better score than the mouse match in terms of raw XP. I had 1203 base XP in this one, which was I can't remember what it was, but it was 1100 and something for the mouse. So for like a quarter of the time I got a better score, and I think I actually made more credits out of this one as well, despite having my tank completely blown away. Welcome to World of Tanks, where these things can and do happen on a daily basis. So, I hope you've enjoyed this pair of replays. The second one, I mean, the C75 replay, has been a total novelty, but hey, these things happen. These things happen. I apologise for the delay. Hopefully you've not been jonesing too bad, but I'm hoping that my PC is now back to being stable. No more blue screens, no more freezes. And yeah, fingers crossed. And we'll get back to normal videos this week. Normal streams this week, because of course Circle and Fosh back from Gamescom. They're probably still recuperating a bit. I know Jingles has said he is, but yeah, hopefully a bit of normality all round. I'm looking forward to that. So if you liked this video, you can hit the like button, you can leave any comments below, you can subscribe to my channel, and as always, stay tuned for more.